had trouble finding my dish just because it's been so long since I used it because we've been drinking this whole last month. Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay.
I also did too. And then when I was scooping the ice cream, I was like, oh, I haven't used these muscles in my wrist in a while.
I was like, wait, this is weird. I don't like this.
I know. Where's my alcohol?
Happy to be back on ice cream on this very hot day.
Same.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to Ice Cream, You Scream. We're your weekly scoop of the most chilling histories, mysteries, and paranormal perplexities. My name is Kathryn.
I'm Gina.
And it's a new month. Welcome to August. I already fucked up. During the month of August, we're going to be telling stories about curses. And our ice cream flavor is we're eating each other's least favorite ice cream flavors, which actually ended up working out for us. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. As a reminder, it's almost our birthday. The countdown has begun, the 2-month countdown, and the only thing on our wish list this year is for you all to give us a 5-star rating. So we would love you forever if you did. And if you don't, we still love you. We're happy you're here. Yeah, grab a spoon and let's dig in.
I'm actually really excited to try this.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to try it too. I love how we both... Oh, wait, tell us what you're eating.
I am eating pistachio ice cream. And what are you eating, Kathryn?
I am eating, what did you say? The chocolatiest chocolate ice cream I could find. So I am eating... Oop, I just squeaked, sorry. I am eating Ben & Jerry's non-dairy chocolate fudge brownie. And I topped it with chocolate chips in the spirit of what you requested.
Excellent choice. Well, let's give it a go.
Ooh. Yeah, that's rich.
This is really good. I didn't go for a cheap brand this time. I got a fancy brand.
I feel like you can't.
And it's so
pistachio.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like salted a little bit. Like it tastes like I just ate it. Like the aftertaste of a pistachio. Exactly what I'm experiencing.
So I do have a confession now that we're locked in to the flavors. I don't know if I've ever had pistachio ice cream.
What?
I just hate pistachios, and the thought of pistachio ice cream grosses me out. So I hate it so much that I won't even try it.
That's okay. I haven't had I don't actually know if I've had the chocolatey ice cream since I was like a little kid. So yeah. I just know I won't like it.
Pistachio is one of those things I'm positive Phil has gotten it before, and I'm positive I've made him let me try it, or like he's told me to try it. It's like I know somewhere in my heart of hearts I've tried it. I've repressed it or something, you know, because I was going to choose butter pecan because that's Phil's other favorite. And I just make fun of him for loving it so much because like what in the 85-year-old? But I actually I don't hate butter pecan. I do like butter pecan. It just is nowhere in my top list of ice creams I would want. So I had to pick. I basically chose like, what does Phil like? Therefore I hate it.
Romance.
Whoops.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
it's marriage.
Chocolatey ice cream is Tom's favorite, and I fucking hate it. So.
Wait, did we... What theme are we doing this Our respective partners' favorites / therefore
I was thinking our partners don't know anything about good ice cream. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, well, that too. Of course. Yeah, of course. That goes without saying. Which is honestly funny because between the two of us, Phil is the ice cream person. I'm just doing this for the bit.
I don't know what... No, Tom's he's a chocolate person. Anything with chocolate is his number one.
Okay, yeah. That's me too. I will tell you right now, this is definitely too rich for me. This is not going to be a 5 out of 5, but I'm enjoying it. A little spoiler for our last episode this month.
Well, let's check back in. Maybe you'll come around to it.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I do have one thing I want to tell you before we jump in. I'm going to a concert tonight, and I'm not super familiar with this band. This is very much a Phil band, but I enjoy it. It's not one of my tops, but we can edit that out. That makes me sound like I hate it. Anyway, so it's this band called Blood Incantation, and the venue at which we are going to see this band is the Bohemian National Cemetery in Chicago. And I'm so excited because this is the most Kathryn and Phil date we will have ever been.
That is so fucking cool. You please take pictures while you're there so I can look at pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going down a little early because it starts at 6, so we don't want to get like drive down in rush hour. So we're gonna leave here like as soon as you and I are done recording. I'm gonna change real quick and then we're gonna go.
That's gonna be because the sun is gonna set while you're at the show, and so that's gonna be beautiful.
But also, we went to a concert last night too. So
yes, how was that?
It was good. I was enjoying myself. I was just kind of vibing. Also, there was a moth, and I could not shake the fact that there was a moth in this theater. I kept just watching him vibe. I don't know. I
imagine being that moth.
I was imagining being that moth the entire concert, and I have a children's book written.
I'm looking forward to the day when you start writing children's books, because you have a back catalog of fucking great ideas.
I've got outlines for days. Like, I have a whole Google Drive folder of outlines and brain dumps. Like, I have so many series. Just keep collecting these ideas.
It's cute because it's like your children's books are children right now. They're in their child phase. They'll get there.
Oh my God, wait, I love that. Oh my God. That makes me want to cry. That's so sweet. That's such a sweet idea. And also just gave me another idea. That's such a good idea. You should write that one.
You'll raise them. Raise them to be little mongrels. Evil children's books.
Yes. Oh no, what if my books are going to be cursed just like this month? Oh, is this our transition?
This is a great transition. We can use this as a transition.
Just like the story you want to tell me today. Do you have a story?
I do have a story. Are you ready for a story?
I think so. Yeah.
Let's do it. Today's story is one of the most devastating in American pop culture history. It's a story of ambition, legacy, and a family of professional wrestlers so plagued by tragedy that people to this day blame it on a curse. So trigger warning right at the top. This episode is going to be really fucking sad. I'm going to be talking about drug abuse, suicide, and accidental deaths, including the death of a child. It's a lot. Also, this next part is not really a trigger warning, but it's a heads up. I'm also going to be talking about pro wrestling a lot today. So before I get into the actual story, I want to hit on 2 key points first, because they're important for understanding everything that comes next. So the first, and I feel like a nerd saying it, but it's true. The first is that there's a difference between fake and predetermined. Pro wrestling is predetermined insofar as who wins and who loses, but what happens in the ring, and more importantly, the impact it has on your body, is very, very real. The second is that wrestling is just as much about characters and storytelling as it is about kicking people's asses. Things like public perception and your personal brand matter so fucking much in wrestling that some people will do anything to protect what they've built. This is the world that we are walking into. So without further ado, this is the story of the Von Erich family. Our tale begins in Texas with a man named Jack Barton Adkisson. I keep wanting to say Adkinson, but it's not. It's Adkisson.
That's what I thought you were trying to say. Okay, Adkisson. Okay.
It's like your mouth doesn't want to. I know, yeah.
Wrong, yeah.
But that's okay, because more often than not, he went by Fritz Von Erich. That was his wrestling name. He was a pro wrestler that debuted in the 1950s, which was right around the time when wrestling was starting to become the big spectacle that it is today. And from the very, very start, Fritz wanted to be the best in the business. He was trained by Stu Hart, who was a very well-known guy in the wrestling biz. He still gets brought up a lot today. And fun fact, Fritz trained at something called the Hart Dungeon, which was actually just Stu Hart's basement. But to give it credit, it has produced some of the greatest and most successful wrestlers of all time. So training at the Hart Dungeon was some serious shit. It's really impressive. So when Fritz found out that he was going to be playing a bad guy in the ring, aka a heel, he wanted to be the fucking best heel on earth, which meant being someone that everyone hated. So Fritz's character was a Nazi.
Oh, right off the bat. Okay.
Yeah. And that sounds fucking horrifying and horrible, and it was. But that was kind of the whole point of it. Mm-hmm. The whole purpose of being a heel in wrestling is to make the crowd despise you so much that they cheer for your opponent even louder. And then they use that to help like craft narratives, tell stories about the wrestlers. It's literally just a soap opera, but they oil up before they get in front of the camera. That's really the only difference. And Fritz was really fucking good at it. People loved to hate him almost as much as they loved his signature move, and this might ring a bell, the Iron Claw.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know about that.
Yep. So if that sounds familiar, it's because a movie called The Iron Claw came out in 2023 about this family. We will talk more on that later. But the Iron Claw itself is actually a wrestling move. And it's this thing that Fritz used to do where he would grip your face like by your temples. He had like these huge hands. And he would basically squeeze, cutting off your circulation until you either tapped out or you passed out. It was intense.
Ooh.
And as much of an asshole as he was in the ring, he wasn't exactly a peach outside of the ring either. He wasn't like Nazi level bad, but he did have a reputation for being the toughest man in Texas, which in Texas, it's kind of saying a lot.
Yeah.
He was like old school, bootstraps, rub some dirt in it kind of guy. And that became the legacy that he passed on to his sons. So let's talk about the family a little bit. The same year that Fritz debuted as a wrestler, he married his high school sweetheart. Oh, her name was Doris. And together they had 6 sons. No daughters, just sons. I know.
I'm trying to be respectful to men right now, but
I know. In order of birth, and I will it's a lot of names, but I'll try and kind of clarify who I'm talking about as I go. Okay. The firstborn was Jack Jr. He was named after his dad. And then there was Kevin and David. Later, they would also have Carrie, Mike, and Chris. But at this point in the story, it's only Jack Jr., Kevin, and David so far. Okay. So the first death in the family came pretty early on. It was 1959. And like I said, so far, they only had these 3 boys, and the oldest one was Jack Jr. They were living in a trailer because they had to travel a lot to fit around Fritz's wrestling schedule. So at this point, they were in New York. And one day, when he was 6 years old, Jack Jr. was walking home from school through the trailer park when he accidentally brushed up against the tongue of a trailer, which I had to look up what that is. It's the thing that connects to the hitch thing. And for some reason, it had an electric current going through it. We think there was an exposed wire somewhere.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Sad.
So, Jack Jr., this next part's really fucking sad. He got electrocuted and he fell face first into a puddle of melted snow, drowning him on land.
Oh, that sucks.
Ugh. Yeah. Fucking tragic. And the family was never the same.
Yeah, sorry, continue. I'm
No, keep going.
No, that's something that happens not often, but you don't think that could possibly happen. But there's quite a few stories where that happens.
More often than you think. I think I read one time that there only needs to be 2 inches of water to drown in it, maybe less.
Yeah, I think it's 1 inch because honestly, I don't mean this to be funny, but it kind of depends on how big your nose is because as long as your mouth and nose are both submerged, that's 1 inch. Yeah.
Ugh, God. Yeah. So yeah, the family, this is incomprehensibly awful for a family to go through. And according to Kevin, the second oldest son after Jack Jr., Fritz was particularly affected by this. Kevin said, quote, "He wanted to make everyone suffer like him," which is a sentiment that I think echoes through this whole story. But instead of stepping back to grieve, Fritz threw himself into his work. He kept wrestling, he kept traveling, and he wound up climbing the ranks of the National Wrestling Alliance, or the NWA, first as a wrestler and then as a promoter. Real quick pause for context. A wrestling promotion is basically just the organization that puts on a wrestling show. WWE is the most well-known wrestling promotion, but there are tons of them, and there were even more back then. And a promoter is the person who makes it all kind of come together. They help organize the events, they sell the storylines, sometimes they book the matches, all of that. So Fritz, being a promoter for the NWA, was in particular a really big fucking deal because the NWA was literally an alliance of a bunch of promotions coming together. It was like a wrestling cartel, and Fritz now had substantial power within that. Okay. Fun fact, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins fame now owns the NWA.
Oh, that is a fun fact. He was just here in Milwaukee. We missed him for some reason.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't remember why. I think he was at Summerfest or something. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
But anyway, so Fritz had begun building his empire. Also, by this point, he had had 3 more sons, Carrie, Mike, and Chris, like we mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And now that he had all of this power, he was going to do everything he could to make sure that the 5 sons he had left became the center of what he was building. Around this time, when Fritz didn't have to travel as much anymore because he wasn't in the ring all the time, the family settled down on a 16-acre ranch in Texas. And this is really where the boys grew up. But the fact that it was kind of a remote location doesn't mean that the boys grew up out of the spotlight. As kids, they had pictures with their dad in magazines. Like literally when they had a field day at school, it would make the TV as like a news story. From a very, very young age, they were both known to the wrestling community, but also known to Texas as a whole. Like they were just huge. People loved them. In terms of their upbringing itself, Fritz was very, very involved, and he wanted his boys to grow up strong just like him. So much so that he built a weight room in the family's barn. And when each of his sons would hit puberty, he would start training them. The way it's described, it's almost like it was a coming of age thing in the family. Mm-hmm. Like once you hit this age, you'll get to go to the barn with dad and he'll show you how to lift weights kind of thing.
Yeah.
So every day for 3 hours, the boys would work out with their dad. And that doesn't include things like solo workouts or the time that they spent playing sports at school, because a lot of them did. And their training itself was a little bit unorthodox. Among other things, Fritz would tie the boys together by their feet, hang them from a beam, and then have them fight upside down.
What?
Yeah, just kind of a little bit weird.
My goodness.
Yeah. And in fairness, like the boys weren't forced to do this. They wanted to because they worshipped their dad. They wanted to be just like him. And like, to be fair, for a while, it looked like that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Kevin was the first one to go pro. He was an amazingly gifted athlete. He had a dazzling football career in high school and then also at North Texas State University. Also, sidebar, when I say football, I'm talking about American football. So everyone else can suck it. We say soccer on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just confusing otherwise.
It surely is. So anyway, yeah, he was a football star. And he dreamed of playing for the NFL someday. But before he could get there, he got a really gnarly knee injury. So that wasn't on the table anymore. Instead, when he was around 20 years old, he debuted as a wrestler. His nickname was the Golden Warrior. And another fun fact, he was known for wrestling barefoot.
Oh, I love being barefoot. Mm-hmm.
Me too. Yeah. Cool. So that was Kevin. David, who is the next in the birth order, followed closely behind Kevin. Like his brother, he was also a star athlete in high school. He played basketball and football. And he was tall, lean, really strategic. Like if Kevin brought the raw athleticism, David had the finesse. He was what's called a technical wrestler, which meant that he focused on things like skill, hold maneuvers, and like just actual technique within the ring. So with David, it was less flying through the air and more turning someone into a human pretzel kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He became known as the Yellow Rose of Texas. Oh. And one thing that I love about David is that he had a passion for horses. He really loved horses.
Oh my God, a horse boy? That's so cute.
He was a boy. Yeah, he actually had a side hustle raising and selling show horses and like accumulated his own fortune outside of any wrestling stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's David. And then Carrie, the fourth son, was the big breakout star. He was a track and field prodigy in high school. Like, he literally broke records on the discus. He was so good. At one point, he was training to be on the 1980 Olympic team, but that was the year the US decided to boycott it because it was being hosted in Moscow. It was like this whole geopolitical thing back then. So when he couldn't do that, he went into wrestling instead, and he was huge. He had the charisma, he had the muscles, he had the looks. Like, looking at old pictures of him, very much young John Travolta vibes.
Oh.
Really handsome. And his physique was apparently so good that Arnold Schwarzenegger refused to be photographed shirtless with him.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
These boys were built. And also, Carrie was known as the modern day warrior.
Okay.
And I should also say, like, even though they had these nicknames like Yellow Rose of Texas, Modern Day Warrior, whatever, everyone knew them by like Carrie Von Erich, David Von Erich. Like, their names were not unknown to people. They just had little nicknames too.
That's pretty common for like really popular. I'm thinking of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, The Rock.
Like,
Ric Flair, Nature Boy.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what your wrestling nickname would be.
I don't know. What would yours be? I know you've thought about this.
Ooh, the ice bitch cometh.
Wait, I love that for you. I don't know what I've never thought of this before.
I can't decide whether it would be terrifying or like misleading in how fun it sounds. But then you come in and kill people.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyway. Okay, sorry. We can
yeah.
I'm done with this thing.
I will be thinking of this. We'll report back what
me too.
What my name would be.
Too.
Yeah.
Same. And so these three boys debuted, and all of it happened fast. Like, Kevin, David, and Carrie all debuted within like a few years. And they quickly became fan favorites, and they started drawing huge crowds because they were like these talented, all-American, gorgeous boys from Texas. They're also described as being really humble and shy at points. Like, they were just so easy to root for.
Yeah.
And when they would use the Iron Claw, just like their dad, it got just the biggest reaction. The vibes were very, we are seeing legends in the making with this. So some time passes. The boys' popularity grows and grows. And in early 1984, David was scheduled to go on tour in Japan. He had been sick for about a month or so leading up to this. He had been throwing up. He was looking really pale, just not well. And right before he left on this trip, his brother Kevin recalled sitting at the kitchen table with their mom, and Kevin looked at David and his heart just like sank into his stomach. He looked so sick. Kevin was really worried about him going over there, but Fritz was like you made a commitment, you need to stick to it kind of guy. Yikes. So David went anyway. Yeah. And once David got there, he never made it to the ring. While he was gone, before he had even had his first match in Japan, the Von Erichs got a knock on their door at around 2 a.m. It was Fritz's right-hand man. It was a guy named David Manning, saying that someone from Japan had called and David had been found dead in his hotel room at 25 years old. The way that David's body was positioned, it looked like he had been trying to reach the phone, which is really heartbreaking. Yeah, like we don't know if he was going to call the hospital or his family or who, but someone.
Just call for someone, yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
The official cause of death was acute enteritis, which is a severe inflammation of the small intestine. But rumors of something else happening started circulating almost immediately. A lot of people did and still do claim that David died of a drug overdose. This story goes that the guy who found his body, another wrestler whose name was Bruiser Brody, had cleaned up before the authorities arrived and basically hid all of David's drug shit. It is very important to note there is absolutely no evidence of this. Kevin doesn't believe it, so I don't believe it. But if you Google David Von Erich, a lot of stuff about this comes up. So I just want to get ahead of anyone finding that and thinking that it's like a bona fide truth. It's not. It's a rumor. At the end of the day, all that really mattered was that David was gone. The Von Erich family, again, was fucking devastated, and the wrestling world in general was devastated. Like, he was a huge star to die so young. And when his funeral came around, thousands and thousands of people came to pay their respects, to the point where not everyone could fit inside the venue, so they had to put screens and speakers outside for the overflow crowd. Shortly after that, they had a tribute show called the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions. There was a bunch of wrestling that went on there, and it had over 42,000 attendees, which at the time made it the largest crowd ever at a wrestling event in the USA. Kerry had a match that night against Ric Flair, who we fucking hate. I don't have time to get into it, but he sucks. And Kerry won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship off of Ric Flair, which was a huge deal. He was the first Von Erich to do this, and there's footage of his family coming to congratulate him after he wins, and you can just feel the emotion in that moment and how much it meant to the family and to the boys that they got to bring the belt home for David.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with David gone, things were obviously never truly the same. And from a business perspective, they were now missing one of the Golden Von Erich brothers. So Fritz turned to his next son, Mike. We haven't talked very much about Mike yet, but he seemed like a very gentle soul. He loved music. He played guitar. He wanted to work in wrestling, but he wanted to be a cameraman, not actually a star in the ring. But his dad wanted him to wrestle. So he did. Kevin has said that Mike felt pressured to be David and to be at the same level as his older brothers right away, but he just couldn't quite do it. He wasn't on the same level as them with the technique and athleticism, which fucking makes sense because they have years of experience on him at this point. But still, Mike felt that he was less than. And about a year after David died, everything started to fall apart all over again. Mike was on a wrestling tour in Israel when he dislocated his shoulder during a match. So he was taken to the hospital for emergency surgery, and then he was flown back to Texas to recover. And then things went even further south immediately. He developed a really, really high fever, like 107 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is, for our European friends, 41.5 degrees Celsius. And one of the things about a fever that high is that you can get brain damage from it. The threshold is literally 107.
I was going to say, that's like deadly temperature.
Yeah, it's really dangerous. Kevin literally had to carry him to the car to take him to the hospital. Like, he couldn't even walk. And when they got there, they discovered that Mike had developed toxic shock syndrome due to a staph infection after the surgery. Somehow, by some fucking miracle, Mike survived. The doctors thought that he wouldn't for a while. The family was like ready to say their goodbyes. And all of a sudden he just kind of recovered and pulled through. Actually, let me correct that, because he pulled through. He didn't ever really recover. He lost a ton of weight during this period. He started acting super erratic. He attacked a stoplight. He smashed up a parked car. Just like all of these aggressive acts of violence that were never really like him to do, and also potentially evidence that brain damage had in fact occurred.
Yeah.
About a year after that, Mike got into a car accident where he suffered even more head injuries when his car flipped over.
But he survived?
Yeah. He survived. Yeah. Despite this, all of this horrible bullshit that's happening to him, he tried to continue wrestling, but he just, like, it feels shitty to say, but his performance in the ring just really wasn't great, which is understandable.
Yeah.
His personal life wasn't going well either. He got arrested for a DUI and suspicion of possession. I think it was of weed. His lawyer wound up getting him out of jail, and that was the last time anyone saw him alive. The family first realized that something was wrong when Mike missed a family event, so they started searching for him. And by the time they found him, which took days, it was too late. He had overdosed on tranquilizers and alcohol by Louisville Lake and died at the age of 23 years old.
Wait, I was not considering the age of this person.
So young.
I'm imagining, like, why was I imagining like a 45-year-old?
So young. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So around this time, the Von Erichs' popularity started to drop a little bit. It had been about a decade since the first brother, Kevin, had made his debut, and the crowds were just starting to get a little bit tired of them. There's some speculation that it was like a branding and image issue, like we talked about earlier. Because on the one hand, you have these God-fearing all-American boys, and then on the other hand, there's news about DUIs and drug use and arrests and suicide and that kind of thing, which put the family in a tough place emotionally, as if they didn't already have enough to fucking deal with. Now their careers, the one thing that their lives as a family, as a unit, are centered around, is starting to look a little shaky. Which extra sucks because around this time, the youngest brother, Chris, made his debut. Chris was the baby of the family. He was the youngest brother, and he was known as the funny one. He was described as just being full of life, just a sweetheart. Like, if you look at pictures of him, he just looks like he would know how to crack a really good joke. Like, you know, when you can just tell that someone has a good sense of humor? That's what he looks like, yeah.
Okay.
But he also had asthma, and he was on medication that gave him very brittle bones that were prone to breaking, which, when you're a wrestler, makes your job exponentially harder. Like we talked about earlier, everything that happens in that ring is real. It fucks you up. And if your body is working against you and you're new to the business, you're in for a really hard fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Chris loved wrestling. He had spent years working and trying to succeed. So much so that if he got injured, too bad, he would wrestle anyway, even if the doctors told him not to.
Oh boy.
Until at one point, he broke his arm so badly that he just couldn't work through it, couldn't work out with it. And this, compounded with the fact that he hadn't been progressing much professionally, compounded with the grief over his brothers, sent him into a really nasty depression spiral.
Wait, before you maybe you're going to say this, but what was his wrestling name?
Gosh, I don't think I wrote that one down. What was
I'm like
Chris
clocking
Vaughn?
all these guys just to see if I recognize any of them.
I don't know if he had one.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on, this is going to bug me now. Yeah, I don't think he had a nickname.
That's so weird to me. I thought that was like a rule. Are you allowed to not have a wrestling name?
I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but he winds up wrestling for less, actually just over a year. So
okay.
maybe
Never mind.
Long enough.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I should say
I was just curious.
He wrestled for longer than that, but he was like physically in the ring professionally wrestling for just over a year.
Okay. Please continue.
Yeah. So he's going through a hard time, and his brother Kevin tells a story about how Chris called Kevin in the middle of the night one time, and Chris was saying like, "Hey man, I loaned you my VCR player. I want it back. Give it back." VCR was kind of a product at the time, but still, it was just like really random, kind of out of the blue. So Kevin was like, "Dude, wait until morning, please. This is so fucking weird." But Kevin could also tell that something just was not right when Chris was talking to him. So he wound up leaving the house and going to look for Chris. And he found him at the top of a nearby hill that Chris really liked spending time at. It was like one of his places. And Kevin, when he got up there, asked Chris, you know, "What you doing? How's it going?" And Chris said, "Did you read my note?" Ooh. And Kevin, reading between the lines here, was like, "Oh my fucking God, please don't kill yourself. Whatever you're thinking of doing, don't do it. Like, it'll be okay. Blah, blah, blah. Promise you won't." And Chris said, "It's okay. It's all right. I won't do it. I promise." So Kevin goes back to the house and tells his dad about the situation. Like, "Hey, something is up with Chris. I'm worried." And Fritz says, "You better get back to Chris right now." So Kevin raced back to the hill, and it was already too late. At the age of just 21 years old, Chris had shot himself in the head, and a toxicology report revealed cocaine and Valium in his system.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's do a quick timeline recap because there's a lot going on. By this point, it's been 7 years since David died. So within 7 years, 3 sons are dead, 2 of them by suicide, and the only ones left are Kevin and Carrie. Carrie, like I said before, he was by far the most famous of the brothers, and he was kind of the de facto face of the family at this point. Like, no one was higher up than Fritz in the hierarchy, but Carrie was the big star. But he also had a very big secret. Before Mike and Chris had died, Carrie was in a really nasty motorcycle accident. He had crashed into a parked police car, and this really fucked up his ankle. The doctors did everything they could to save it, and for a while it looked like it would be okay, but Carrie walked on it a little bit too soon, and the damage from that meant it had to be amputated.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to say that. Yikes.
It gets worse.
Oh, okay.
Because Fritz, his loving father, didn't want Carrie to look weak. So they hid the fact that his foot had been amputated, and Carrie kept wrestling.
That's not the vibe. I don't like that.
That's not the vibe. And I know, like, I do want to just quickly touch on this because I know it sounds fucking weird. Like, how can you wrestle without a foot and have no one notice? That's just insane. But most wrestlers wear those like really high boots, like mid calf or like up to their knees sometimes. So it was actually kind of easy to just stick a prosthetic in the bottom of one and then just go about like everything was normal. Like when you watch videos of Carrie wrestling from this time period, you cannot fucking tell at all. That guy was so good at what he did. He was amazing.
Interesting.
And so this became like a really massive family secret. They weren't allowed to tell anybody. And this period of secrecy lasted for years. I think 5 years total. They even had Carrie doing interviews saying, yeah, I almost had to have my leg amputated, but I'm strong and I'm back and I'm okay. Like, just heartbreaking.
I'm sorry. This is just like not computing. The concept of like being weak because you needed your foot amputated. Like, first of all, that's not a measure of like strength or weakness at all. But if it was going to be, I feel like you would want people to know, because I feel like that's more impressive to be a good wrestler without a foot. Like, I don't know. Like, again, it's not a measure of strength at all, but like lying about that seems just bizarre to me. I can't, I'm like struggling. I'm struggling to compute that logic.
It's the reason why we can't understand it. It's because it's the logic of a guy who was born in like the 30s.
Yeah. In Texas.
Like, you know what I mean? In Texas.
Very like, yeah. Just, yeah. Anyway, continue. I just had to land there for a second because what the hell?
It's good to bring it up because it had, like, having to keep the secret had a huge impact on Carrie. Because in his mind, he's like, yeah, he's telling himself like, oh, I'm lying, I'm fake, I'm weak. And he wasn't weak, but being forced to hide it, like, you get why his brain was telling him those lies, because the actions that everyone else was taking told him that he was weak because he wasn't allowed to talk about it.
And so like, it just that validation of, oh, he's so good, you know, that can be thought of as, oh, I'm good because I'm keeping the secret, you know, not because I'm just good at what I do, you know.
Exactly.
Which still doesn't make sense, but I get that mental comparison, like that connection or whatever.
Yeah, it just sounds dark. Like, that's a dark place to be in your mind.
Yeah. It's almost like, it's just one of those things that it seems so obvious when you're outside of it, but when you're in that space, it's like, man, I get that.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Now, eventually, Carrie got signed by the WWF, which would eventually become the WWE that we know today. And one thing about the WWF that sucks, just one of the many, is it's a huge corporation, so it's really hierarchical. Wrestlers don't have a whole lot of control over who they are in the ring. Supposedly, it's a little bit better now, but that's also like a whole other thing that I don't have time to get into. If we ever want a bonus episode on wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that someday. I'm not emotionally prepared for that right now.
No, I don't think we can do that today. So when he started wrestling for the WWF, Kerry was rebranded as the Texas Tornado, and he was not allowed to use the Iron Claw.
Okay. The more you speak, I'm like starting to, I think I've heard of this nickname, and the more you talk about it, I feel like I know about the Iron Claw. I feel like Phil's talked about that before.
It's one of, like, this family, it's one of those things where it's so embedded within culture that, like, you don't realize you know of it until you hear the story and you're like, oh shit, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, because when you first mentioned the movie, I thought that was the reason I thought of it, but the more you talk about it, I know Phil will sometimes talk about wrestling moves, and I'm pretty sure he's not done the Iron Claw to me, but like a version of, not like he hasn't like tried to like suffocate my brain, but like, you know, we'll be messing around and he'll be like, Iron Claw, and I'll be like, I don't know any of these. Like, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that there's another one he does a lot. What's like a famous move? I don't know.
Oh, there's a lot of them. Well, it's tricky too because, like, oh, what? Sorry.
No, you mentioned hating Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair is the one that Phil likes. Do we hate him?
He was a great wrestler, amazing showman, shit human being.
Okay, I think Phil has mentioned that before. Listen, I am not in the wrestling world at all. I think they're all pieces of shit. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, all, because I don't know about this world, so all I ever hear is the news stories about the pieces of shit. So like, I'm not excusing any of it, but I'm all like, I am going into every wrestling story assuming they suck, and you gotta just like tell me otherwise. So like,
well, yeah, there are some good wrestlers, like some really genuinely good people that we're going to talk about later.
I like The Rock. I know about him. He seems nice.
The Rock is cool. I really like, well, he died, but I liked Bray Wyatt a lot. He was neat. There's also this wrestler called Mick Foley, Mankind.
Oh, wait. Is he the one Phil likes?
Phil probably, because that would have been like the heyday when Phil was watching it.
I think, sorry, I get a lot of Ric Flair gifts from Phil, but I think the Foley guy is the one he actually was like a fan of. You know what, I'm just going to stop talking. I'm going to let you continue, and I'll fact check with Phil and then get back to you. I'm going to stop talking for him.
Okay. Oh, where did I go? Continue. Okay, so yes, Kerry's in the WWF, rebranded as the Texas Tornado. So his identity just kind of started slipping away from him, which again sucks because he was a huge fucking deal. Like, the fact that he was Kerry Von Erich was one of the biggest things he had going for him. So by dismantling his brand, they also took away a big piece of who he was. Like, he did have some success in the WWF. Like, he became Intercontinental Champion at one point, but he lost that title a few months later. He slowly stopped getting as many televised matches. His career was just really starting to slow down. He wound up developing a drug addiction, which led to issues with the law, which led to issues in his marriage because he was married by this point. And his WWF career just ended up treading water. And he wound up being released, which is just a fancy way of saying fired, within just a few years of his debut at the company. So by this point, Kerry's just in like a horrifically dark place. He's lost 4 of his brothers, 3 of them recently. His career is spiraling. He's still carrying the shame of that amputation. So he wound up telling Kevin that he wanted to kill himself. He was ready to join his brothers. And Kevin was like, no, don't do that. Let's just get away from here. Let's go to Alaska for a while. Just you and me. We'll figure it out together. No wrestling, no drugs, no dad. We can do this. It just wasn't meant to be. The same day that Kerry was scheduled to be indicted on drug charges, he drove to his dad's ranch where he shot himself in the heart and died in his father's arms at the age of 33, leaving Kevin as the only surviving Von Erich child.
Oh no. That's so sad.
It's so fucking sad, man. Yeah.
Ew, I hate that.
It's so tragic. But okay, that's the end of the deaths. So we can draw a line there.
I was literally
done.
just gonna say, can we pause for a second? I wasn't I know this is a cursed episode. The episode's not cursed. Don't be scared, anyone. This is an episode about curses. But I still was just not expecting, I don't know, Anyway, just continue. I'm sorry. My brain's like struggling with this.
No, it's okay. It's genuine. It's almost unbelievable, this story. Like, we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but
yeah, yes, it's just, even though I know there were like there was a little bit of time in between some of them, but it's just like, that's a lot. And
it is.
Well, yeah, keep going, because I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to hear everything
from
you first. Okay.
So within a few years of Carrie's death, Kevin wound up retiring from wrestling, which, like, who could blame him?
Right.
And I love this part. He moved to Hawaii, where he and his wife raised 4 kids.
And he lived?
He lived. He's still alive.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the information that I have talked about today actually comes from an interview that he did within the last couple of years. It was on a show called The Dark Side of the Ring, which, if Phil hasn't watched Dark Side of the Ring, okay, yes, it's a great show.
I think he must have, or at least he's mentioned it, or I've seen it on his list or something, because I recognize that, and I would only recognize it from him.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the Von Erich episode. It's just so well done. I think it's season 1, episode 4. Highly recommend to anyone who's interested in seeing Kevin and like watching footage of what happened in the matches and stuff. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like talking about this, and this is like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, you can tell that it's, fucking hard for him to talk about. There's one point where I want to say it's after he talks about Chris's death. I might be wrong on that, but it's one of the deaths. He's telling the story of it. And then at the end, he just kind of like gives the cameraman a look and says, "Can I please have another break for just about 10 minutes?" And just the way he says it is like, I just want to give you the biggest hug. Oh my God.
That just gave me chills. Wait, that's so sad.
Yeah. And it's like the politeness with which he asked it.
That's that's I think what gives me chills. Like, because when you just said politeness, that gave me chills again, because I always get so sad when you're watching those interview shows and someone has died, and it makes me very sad when people start getting teary and they're like, I'm sorry. Because I'm like, don't apologize. It's very sad. Like, just fucking cry. But it's almost like the fact that that's not what he said. He just like, and I don't know if he apologized or not, but it's the addition of like, may I please have a break? Instead of just trying to push through. I feel like people always, at least it appears in the editing, that people just try to push through and like suck down the sadness and keep going. It's like, oh my God, to ask for a break.
And the way that he said, I think it was, he said, "Can I have another break?" So he had like multiple.
Good point.
And so it was just like, oh God.
So sad.
Yeah, you can see it. It hurts. But on kind of the lighter side of things, in that show, they have bits where they show where Kevin lived in Hawaii. And it just seems like the most peaceful, happy place, like just a calm green space where you can just tell that it was really restorative and just a safe place to exist, which is nice. In 2023, Kevin left Hawaii to move back to Texas, which is the same year that the movie The Iron Claw came out, which chronicles the Von Erich story.
Yeah.
Most notably, it features Zac Efron as Kevin and Jeremy Allen White as Carrie, along with a host of other amazing actors.
This is what he had the hair for?
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, I know what movie you're talking about now. I knew that I knew the name, but I didn't. Yes. Okay.
I'm kind of glad that you haven't seen the movie, because I'm going to give you a disclaimer about it in case you ever do want to watch it. Yeah. So the movie does not include Chris's story in the equation. Chris is left out, which pissed me off a little bit at first, but then I was reading about why, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with this story being so much pain that it's almost unbelievable. The director, Sean Durkin, said, I have a quote from him. He said, "It was one more tragedy that the film couldn't really withstand." Which I get,
people would hate it. Yeah, audiences have a threshold. Yeah. I get that. Yeah,
I get it. But it also breaks my heart, because one of Chris's, a big piece of his story is that he was always in the shadow of his older brothers. And so it sucks that even now, like, a movie is made about them and he's not in it.
Like, even in the fictionalized version of their story, he is still in the shadows. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, so that's a little...
I don't like that. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
But it's okay. I'm going to take us on a happier note now. And the happy thing is that there are still Von Erichs who wrestle to this day.
Oh.
They are Kevin's sons, Ross and Marshall, and they're a tag team that wrestles for a company called AEW and its sister promotion, Ring of Honor. And Marshall wrestles barefoot, just like his dad.
Aw.
Yeah. Carrie's daughter, because he had a daughter at one point, also wrestled for a while. So fuck yeah, women wrestlers. Her name is Lacey Von Erich, and she worked for a promotion called TNA, but she retired in like 2010. But Marshall and Ross still wrestle. And just a few weeks ago, Kevin himself made an appearance at an AEW show. So his sons, Marshall and Ross, came out to do a match as part of a wider team called the Sons of Texas. And Kevin walked to the ring with them. He was ringside the whole time. And at one point, he joined them in the ring and he did the fabled Iron Claw.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I watched it in like preparation for this episode or whatever. And just to be honest, like it made me cry a little bit when I saw it. Like just after everything that happened to that family, the purity of their love for wrestling survived. And that makes me happy.
That's a nice way to think of it.
Yeah.
Because like, well, I don't mean like, I just mean like that could easily have not been the case. You know what I mean? This could have been traumatic as far as their relationship to wrestling.
Yeah. And it's nice that, I mean, I would be shocked if, you know, there wasn't some impact, but it's nice that it's still there. And it's like a thing that he shares with his sons and he's okay still being in the ring and shit like that. It's just, it brings like some level of comfort to what is otherwise the saddest story on earth. Mm-hmm. So that is pretty much the end of my story. But before I stop talking, we got to talk about the curse aspect of this. Was the Von Erich family actually cursed? There is a rumor that way back in the day when Fritz was wrestling as a Nazi character, he was cursed by the ghost of a Holocaust survivor who had lost their sons in a concentration camp. Which,
interesting.
And I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit here, and please excuse my height. It's an interesting paranormal theory, but ultimately Kevin doesn't think that's what happened here, and I agree with him. I don't think it was a curse. I think it was culture. Like these boys were put into a box where the only acceptable outcome was to suffer in silence. And I think the real curse is the idea that stoicism and strength are the same thing, and that getting help means that you failed. It's kind of on point that we're talking about this now because we mentioned it in the recording we did last week.
We did.
But if you are a guy listening to this or just anyone listening to this, those things are not true. It is okay to feel. It's okay to need help. Help is available to you. We're going to put some resources in the show notes if you need them. Please, please, please use them. And that's all I got.
Yeah. That's a piece of what I was going to say before. So I wanted you to finish because I had faith that you were going to get here. But I think that this is just one of those, you can turn this into a woo-woo situation in the way that like issues with mental health and substance abuse can feel like a curse. So it's like, okay, that is a curse in and of itself.
Totally agree. Yeah. So kind of a dark start to curse month, but also a very realistic one.
Yeah.
Because it's real. Also, this is random, but I just went out of split screen because I don't need my script anymore, and my candle behind me went out at some point, and I don't know why. Because there's like plenty of wick and wax in there.
Yeah, that's not burnt down very far at all.
No. Ooh, so maybe someone came to say hello. Maybe someone was like, "It is a fucking curse. Shut your mouth."
Yeah, they were like, "Now you're cursed." Just kidding.
But yeah, that's my story. Oh. That's my story for the week.
Well, thank you for that story. That was a very dark start. I mean, it's curse month, so there's really no reality where it's going to not be super dark, but that's okay. We'll all get through it together. That's fascinating. I don't know anything about wrestling or wrestling families or anything, so that was all new to me.
Do you have anything fun and exciting to share?
Yes, I can kind of lighten the mood. Let's see here. Why is my mouse not working? We're just cursing everything all over the place here. It's the curse. Okay. So So actually, this is a very exciting one. We got another story from friend of the pod, Brooke, who
Woohoo!
just gave birth to her first child. So
Oh, she did?
congratulations to Brooke. She had the
Oh my
baby.
gosh, yay!
Yes. Just like the other
Congratulations!
day I saw. Yeah. Congratulations to Brooke and family. So I don't want to dedicate this episode to you because it's very dark and sad. So this episode is not dedicated to you at all. It has nothing to do with you. But we are dedicating just love and light to you and your family.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with curses. Okay.
Whatever opposite of a curse, blessing.
Blessing. Wow. Why could I not think of that? Yes. Blessings all around. Okay. So I'm just going to read. I read it, but it's been a while since I read it. She sent this a couple of weeks ago, so bear with me. Okay. It says, I know this one isn't on theme this month. That's okay, because it's a new theme anyway. And it is actually, well, it's not on theme, but it's kind of close. I've been hearing on other podcasts recently about speaking in tongues and how weird it is. Let me tell you, it's weird. I've never done it, but I have experienced others doing it. Growing up Catholic, our youth group would go to many different conferences and talks and things like that. When I was in high school, one of my favorites to go to was called Steubenville of the Rockies. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I am or not. Steubenville. Anyway, in between my junior and senior year of high school, we attended the conference and I was excited to meet new people and have a good time. Almost every evening of the conference, the whole conference attends adoration. If you don't know what adoration is, it's a time spent in prayer or worship where the Blessed Sacrament is exposed in a monstrance. I always loved adoration. You know what? I'm going to Google. I don't remember what a monstrance
What the
is.
fuck is a monster?
Yeah.
I was just going to be like, yeah, for sure. I know what that means.
Oh, okay. It's like that thing. We'll pop a picture in if you're watching on YouTube, but it's like that thing that looks like a wand that priests hold up.
Like the scepter thingy?
Kind of, yeah. It's the definition is it's a sacred vessel used to display the consecrated Eucharist. So it's like okay, let me speak non-Catholic for a second. The Eucharist is the bread, the little disc thing that you eat, the body of Christ, okay? And there is like a special dish that you put that in order to bless it. And it's like very ornate, and it does look like a, what did you call it? Like a scepter thing.
Yeah.
It's just like gaudy gilded shit. All right.
Very Catholic.
It's very Catholic. Yeah. It's just a Catholic thing, okay?
Okay.
So, anyway. Okay, sacrament exposed in a monstrance. I always loved adoration because it was so quiet and peaceful. That was not the case the second night of the conference. Being in a large room with a lot of people, there tends to be noise, but what you don't expect is a teenage girl to scream gibberish and run out of the room. It was a short encounter, but confused everyone until another girl started pacing up and down one of the aisles, talking nonsense very loudly. Some of the adults and security tried to get her to go back to her seat, but she just got combative. It took 3 adult men to carry her out of the room while she continued to yell complete nonsense. I will never fully understand Latin, but I know for a fact that she was speaking some Latin, but not all of it was Latin. Things finally felt like they calmed down, but only for like 20 minutes. A third girl then started running around through the aisles speaking in tongues. She didn't do it for long, but when security started after her, she jumped into a random person's lap and was sobbing into their shoulder. It took a while for most people to process what had happened, and the adult leaders had to explain it to us after adoration was over. It was the strangest thing to watch happen and not understand. I don't think I will ever understand what comes over a person and makes them do stuff like this, and part of me hopes I never will. Keep up the amazing work,
that's a
Brooke.
Good fucking story, Brooke. You came through again.
Truly, I'm very excited to hear more. Yeah. I've never experienced speaking tongues ever. I never went to any like conferences or had any, my youth group experience wasn't like that. But I do know people who have experienced that. I know one person who claims to have spoken in tongues, but it's not that I don't believe people speak in tongues. It's just that specific person lied a lot, so I don't believe that she did. But other than that, it's just wild to me. I've never seen it in person. I've seen videos of it, and I'm like, man, it freaks me out because I'm like, what are we doing? What is this? Like, what is happening right now?
I've never
Have you
seen a
ever
video
seen
of
it?
someone speak. No, I've never seen.
It's
But whenever
yeah,
I hear about it, I always, and if someone's watching the YouTube video, though they might have noticed this, I started to giggle a little bit during one
yeah.
of the when you were saying it. It's because I always picture speaking in tongues as singing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah, but it's like, but they also, I think part of the reason it's so scary to see is it's not just someone speaking. It's like they're often like get like twisted, or they'll start sobbing, or like it's
Ugh.
almost, it's not meant to be demonic. It's supposed to be like angels, or someone is speaking, like sharing God's word through you or something like that. But it looks creepy. It's very scary in my opinion. I don't ever
I
want
don't
it
know,
to happen to
man.
me.
Why are you making us say weird shit like that, man?
Listen, if God wanted to speak through me, I just hope that he chooses a language that I fucking know. Like, why are we still
Oh my
speaking in
God,
Latin?
right? Can you
Aren't you supposed to
imagine?
be
Like you're
omniscient? Like, speak to
reaching
me in
to the
the,
masses.
yeah. Like, how am I supposed to know what you're saying? Yeah, it's
And then
rude,
how am I
honestly.
supposed to like convince people that the things that I just want and I'm saying are God talking? I can't speak Latin.
Yeah. I wish I spoke Latin. I love the concept of a dead language. I don't know why.
Me too. Me too. It's enchanting. My mom took Latin in high school, I think.
So did mine. I think up until a certain year, if you were, did your mom go to Catholic school or a Christian
I
school at
don't
all?
think so, but she went to
Okay.
school and I think it was either Michigan or Indiana at this point. I don't know why that matters, but
Okay. I think the connection you were making is my mom also is from Michigan, and
yeah.
my mom did go to Catholic school all the way through, and it was like one of the old school kind where she was like taught by very mean nuns.
Oh yeah.
And so she definitely took Latin. But I don't know if she remembers any of it. My dad also went to Catholic school, but I think he just went grade school and middle school. I don't think he did.
Mm.
In fact, I know he did not go to a Catholic high school. I don't know if either of them remember any Latin. I'm sure they remember like certain parts of prayers or certain parts of mass, because up until a certain year, Catholic mass was said in Latin.
I
Well, I
forgot
shouldn't
that
say they all. I don't know.
we went to a Catholic wedding together. I totally forgot about that.
Boy, did we. We were sort of on time.
You know what? Okay, I maintain that was not our fault because weddings don't start on time.
Weddings are not supposed to start on time. That's the only wedding I've ever been to that actually started on time.
I felt so bad.
I didn't, which makes me feel bad. I feel bad that I didn't feel bad. Also, you know what? Actually, that wasn't our fault, because remember, we tried to leave on time and it took our Uber like 20 minutes to
Forever.
get to us.
The traffic
And then
was
there was
so
traffic. Yes, because
bad.
then there was construction. I maintain that was not our fault, because we still showed
Yeah.
up
Mostly sober.
on time and mostly sober.
Well, it's not our fault we got stuck at a sports bar. What else was there to do?
I'm remembering a lot about that now. Anyway, that was a lovely wedding. I do listen. I sometimes crave a Catholic mass. Like, they get you, they hook you, and they never let you go.
You know something weird? Like a couple of months ago, I was telling Tom that I wouldn't mind going to church, not like regularly, but just for a service. Like, because when I was a kid, we did the contemporary services a lot. So I was really into like the music they would play. And I kind of miss that sometimes, like the energy of it.
That's how I feel about going to mass. Like, the hymns and the kind of repetitive and almost scripted nature of it feels very, I'm going to say, like, comforting sometimes. Honestly, you know what it is? It makes me feel close to both of my grandmothers, because they were both very devout. Aww. And like, they're around Christmas time, I get very like, I should go to church. I never do. So
it's time.
It's like deep within my heathen soul. Never let you go. Anyway, so thank you so much for the story, Brooke. Tell us more about your Catholic experience. This is like, of all the
Yes,
spooky stuff
please.
she's told, I'm like, this is the one I'm like latching on to the most. Just religious stuff is scary. I don't know.
I love learning about Catholicism. I'm surprised every time.
I kind of do too. And it's funny the things that, because I forgot what like a lot of the terms she used, but as I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, it's been so many years. I feel like I'm like relearning everything. We'll talk about it sometime. But yeah, until then, we are going to continue with Kurtz's month. So join us next week. And until then, Low Spoons, keep it cool.
Keep it creepy.